Thank you. So I understand this is the panel for AI on this event. Um, Usually, I do around 30 events a year, and there's always an AI panel on each event. I usually have low expectations, and they're rarely met. So I hope to keep you keep you up and running. I appreciate it's late. Appreciate some of you had beers, and appreciate it's only us and two other panels between you and the party. So my goal is to meet your expectations when it comes to AI. I'll try to keep it as to the point and as energizing and as energetic as possible. I'm going to do my best to take out of you everything you know about AI and the current state of art when it comes to implementing AI in banks and fintechs. So yeah, keep your fingers crossed, and I hope you enjoy the session. So to warm you guys up a little bit, who on the audience right now on daily basis personally is using any sort of AI? Raise your hand. Much expected. Who is working in an organization that is officially using AI? Around half. Who goes beyond ChatGPT? More sophisticated.
But not Copilot, not Copilot.
And not Copilot, just more sophisticated, not just an LLM you can sign up for. All right, so I hope that at the end of the session you'll be inspired on what can you do, or at least be equipped with knowledge on what others are doing when it comes to AI in banking. And I'd like to kick off with some real results. So if we can go in a line and say, in your organization, because we've got different points of view today represented. We've got a bank, we've got a platform, we've got a provider, and we've got a consultant. So there's different points of view when it comes to how are they leveraging AI on a daily basis in banking and fintech. So if you can come up with one practical AI use case that you are already using today that has delivered actual ROI, and you can say, hey, this is actually neat. We are happy with how it worked. We have implemented AI, it's fun, and we have learned that along the way. Anna.
Yeah, I have this use case, but we have a lot of this use case. I will start just with the first one, which is related to propensity to buy. This is the most successful one in our bank because we started to build models, AI models, a few years ago, and we already have some very mature one in the market, and this is one of that. So we are using for all our products, from lendings to fraud to credit cards and so on. And the success rate, for example, in case of lending was between 15 and 20%, which is huge for this moment. So that's why I'm saying that this showed already the performance, but also on credit cards, again, it's around 20%. And if I'm looking to frauds, because this is the other area very important for the banks, here AI also demonstrated a lot of performance for us because we put it in place a very complex system using AI models. And right now, for example, in BRD, the rate fraud is very, very low. It's 0.0001. So we have a great success with at least with these two areas.
Thank you. I guess fraud is actually one of the best use cases for AI to identify in milliseconds any fraudulent transactions.
Yeah, exactly, because we talk all day long about instant transaction, instant payment. So this is the reality. This is the normal flow for all the clients, and to have really also fraud detection in real time, it's what we need in banks.
Thank you. Robert, I appreciate Backbase is now communicating marketing-wise a lot about how AI-backed are you. Can you name like one best ROI-bringing use case of AI at Backbase?
Yeah. I mean, Backbase is a platform, and we do it with 150 banks globally. So, and we were actually delaying to jump on the AI train. We were not one of the first ones, if you know the market. However, we got a request by all of our customers, we need AI, right? So we need to find a way. And I think it was consultants as well saying, hey, you need some AI in your bank. And we didn't want to sprinkle AI on top of a platform. So also being a company owned by one guy, it helped. We found out that we should do a pilot. So we hired one of the best bankers in Asia that did this kind of machine learning and AI use cases in a bank. And he told us, similar like this, propensity to buy, or something we call customer lifetime orchestration. And we made a pilot with one of our, I would say, more advanced banks. This bank made hyper-segmentation with our technology, of course, better targeting and automation of the execution to what to offer to the customer. In a matter of 3 months, their acceptance rate from the customer went 3 times. Of course, the acceptance rate is 1% or 2%, but when you grow it 3 times, it has a material impact on the bottom line. So that was one example, and that we are not one of the buzzword companies that only talk about AI. We fully internally changed our way of doing the so-called SLDC, software development lifecycle. So now our engineers have to use AI as well for case building, testing, and other things.
Developer productivity.
Yes, we see 20 to 30% decrease in the something that developers don't like to do that much, right? Something like documentation writing, unit testing, case building. So yeah, I can say that we see tangible stuff already, and we are just getting started, to be honest.
The developer productivity is also a well-adopted case already.
Measurable one.
Yeah.
See.
Novika, what about IBM? You're a global player. How are you, I guess, trying to spearhead the market with AI adoption? Can you provide one best tangible ROI bringing example?
Absolutely. So IBM is a technology provider and vendor, but IBM is also big global enterprise. So running our own business is also quite interesting challenge. And of course, we are engaged with a number of clients globally in doing first projects in the next generation of AI. However, we always like to talk about what we say client zeros, what we do actually and what we implement on our side. And it's also like, putting our money where our mouth is also to the market. Following that, we have conducted a number of transformational projects in the last 2 years. And the one that I wanted to emphasize here with the audience is the HR transformation, so the total transformation of our HR organization, which end up with introducing HR assistant, which is called Ask HR. Actually, it's much more than the assistant itself. It's agent or set of agents behind. Of course, it's running on our own technology, which is called IBM Watson Orchestrate, and that's solution to build and run multiple agents, AI agents in the enterprise. And now we are actually moving a huge number of interactions that used to come to HR by some channels to assistant only, including the management. So for example, myself, I'm managing my team only with interacting with that assistant without any support by any human employee or colleague in HR department. In terms of numbers, we are recording 11 million of completed transactions, so completed units of work done on the assistant completely automatically without any human intervention. And that eventually led to around estimation of 40% of reduction in operating expense. We believe it's significant.
It is.
And it's not only, when we are talking about gains, everybody will say reduction of this, reduction of that. It's actually, we like to say productivity improvement. So it didn't lead, to some negative effects of that, but rather, it opened a lot of time for people to do very creative things, instead of answering to my calls because I was lazy to do something on my own. They can actually dedicate their valuable time to work with people, to develop talents, to recruit right people and similar, yeah.
So if I understand correctly, right now, if you are managing a team, instead of reaching out to an HR department, you just speak to a chatbot on motivation of people, or?
That's correct. Actually, a number of automated actions are there. Of course, still, if I'm not able to do something, there is an option to talk or to chat with the person. But as I said, that number of 11 million transactions completed automatically is indicating that it's quite powerful in what it can do by itself.
Thank you. Meital, you are, as a consultant, exposed to a lot of a wide range of banks, fintechs, etc. What do you see is being like a showcase, like an Oscar for AI adoption at the moment?
So I think that there are two approaches from banks and for financial institutions. Some decided to work by themselves and to develop everything in-house, which wasn't before. Like they are saying, okay, we can do it because this is so approachable, and we can use the AI tools to improve. It can be either internal or external. Most of them goes with internal first. And the others using service providers. But so I will give you two examples. First, the first one is internal development. It's an Asian bank that developed actually a process internal for, you spoke about it, for the developers, and the ROI was amazing. It helped them achieve like 50% efficiency in the development cycles. And it was very, very fast, and it was 1 year ago, so now they are even better than this. And the second example is a Swiss bank that decided to go on to use an external service provider, and they built an assistant for their investment managers. This assistant is going through all the documentations that they need to do with this. This is a private bank, and it has very high-end customers, and most of the interactions are personal and around investments. So what they did is actually analyzed all the documentation which the RM did before manually, and now it was saved on the databases and all this. Created like the follow-ups meetings and everything around the analysis and the investment suggestions. So it's a different approach, but I think that they are both vital, and it works. Like it shows almost immediate ROI, but the most important thing is the culture that is changed. I think that the DNA for both banks, by the way, and we worked with both of them, and we saw it happened. Like people changed their mindset. I'm going to speak about it later, but this is something that is very, very powerful, like to see the difference.
Yeah, we're definitely going to touch on the human aspect as well later on if we have the time. But looks like we are now living in times where even incumbent organizations are already reaping off benefits of using AI. I guess last year here, that was not the place where we were yet. Here we are now. But the process of implementing AI is usually, it's cumbersome. You have to start with a pilot, a POC, then go to stakeholders for budget approval, etc. There's naturally a lot of those AI porn and AI hype on, hey, we need to have AI because stakeholders want to see we are AI first because it pumps up the valuation and so on and so forth. But how do you actually get from pilots to production? Anna, you mentioned you've got a lot of projects going on. How do you take them from an idea and a POC to actually live on production and rolled out to retail customers?
Yeah, coming back a little bit, because you said, okay, we started with proof of concept, of course, and pilots, but then we are now more looking to, with the lens of the cost to income and risk-adjusted returns, for example, and customer satisfaction metrics. So the very important point for us right now in scaling AI, it's more about business outcomes. So this is the most important thing. And then, yeah, we always start with the proof of...
So you're having like a KPI for...
Yes.
Bottom line impact.
Yeah, we always, that's why I'm saying we always start from the business. Yeah, I know that we get very exciting about technology and AI, but it's very important to see and to understand the targets of the business and then start, okay, with the proof of concept, but then develop more and put in production initially the proof of concept, demonstrated the KPIs that we are talking about. And this is happening at the board level because we engage the board level in all these initiatives and in all these projects. I think without that, we will continue to treat AI as experimental, and we really don't want this.
Yeah, a lot of people are using ChatGPT as Google, whereas, you know, at the end of the day, it can really bring tangible results to the bottom line. But Robert, you mentioned you are working with a lot of banks. I appreciate majority of those tier one players, incumbent players are, let's say, heritage reliable or legacy when it comes to technology. How do you make a legacy first backend organization able to actually reap off the benefits of such modern technology like AI? How do you take an old school bank that's not ready when it comes to data, backend systems, APIs, etc.? How do you help them prepare to actually use AI?
Well, I think we went all in, right? We found out that we have to walk the talk first and then try to explain to our customers, partners as well, because we do it also with an ecosystem of partners, that we are all in this. And we now, I can tell you, we completely switched our mindset internally. You can call it by will or by force. But now every employee of Backbase is using AI in different ways. If you're a developer, you need to do it. If you're a salesperson, you need to do it. If you're a marketing person, you need to do it. Because we cannot go out there and preach AI makes sense, and we don't believe in it. So from that point of view, and we have 2,500 people, 1.2 thousand people is in R&D. I can tell you a lot of our priorities switched completely to be ready to enable the incumbent, even customers of ours, to work in such environments. You don't have data ready. You don't have layers ready to make the use case of AI. So
that's not longer a challenge.
That's
you can still be unprepared and still go for it.
But this will always be like
head
that.
up.
Yeah, this will always be like that. This will not change even in the next maybe 6 months or 12, even though it seems AI is faster than we think. So we invested a lot into a middle layer that can consolidate this data, help cleanse it. We partnered up with one of the leading global companies for data consolidation and data layers. And we are building our own AI, we have our own AI factory with a lot of people building the use cases. So we don't, again, want to use AI as a tool. We completely changed our strategy into becoming an AI enabling platform that has it in its DNA. It will also have a ripple effect, right? Not everybody will take it. Not everybody will believe in it. But we believe that if we don't know in 2 or 3 years' time, and we are one of the leaders in digital engagement platforms, if people will use a mobile banking to send you €100, or maybe they will tell some ChatGPT agent to send €100. So it is definitely faster than we thought. And the only thing how we managed to, and we have a couple of customers already. I must say also, we are here in Europe. Europe is a bit more stringy also on the regulatory part. It's not easy for all of us, right? But we have customers in Asia, in Middle East, that are fully supporting these use cases, and the results are quite interesting. So we will go all in on this. Yeah.
Meital, what's your point of view? Again, working with a lot of banks, is being legacy behind the scenes show-stopping implementing AI?
First of all, yes. And second, there are ways to cope with it. So, of course, legacy is a hurdle, and that many banks want to change it, but this is a huge, huge project. And I think that AI is an opportunity to cut parts from the legacy and move them to an innovative infrastructure. But it requires guts and bold. And I think that when you are dealing with legacy systems, so there is one advantage that is stable, and you know that your bank is running, and this is the most important thing first. But many banks take the approach of taking like one business line, one line of business, and let's say savings or lending, and just deal with that, and deal one step at a time. And you take it from A to Z. Like, let's build it on the side, knows that it's working, then again, that's, of course, we need a pilot, and we need the customers and friends and family and all this, and then go to fully production. And this way, they are doing it like one step at a time, and I hope it's not there yet. I hope that we will see banks that eventually moves everything. It's not there yet.
So there's ways to overcome this hurdle when it comes to legacy and heritage.
For sure, and also there is an important thing that Europe has an advantage in it, which is the open banking and the API.
Yeah.
Most of the banks already did the shift to become more innovative, to have an API layer, which opens everything, for the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So you already did this big leap to change your infrastructure. So now you need to harness and you need to take to leverage the thing that you already did.
Yeah, you have touched on the one of the aspects that is actually the pros of Europe being definitely overregulated compared to the US or MENA or Asia. There's this saying that in Europe it's regulation first, innovation second. But then when you look at what PSD2 brings when it comes to open banking, it actually opens doors. But when it comes to regulation, there goes a question to Novika now. Banking is a heavily regulated space. AI in banking comes with serious regulatory responsibilities. There's challenges with regulators, there's challenges with governance, there's challenges with ethics. How do you overcome that, and how do you make AI systems compliant when it comes to banking and fintech?
Well, yeah, a very good question. Actually, by using technology. Technology is usually a good response and good answer on these things. So today, together with the rising use cases around AI and the technology itself, which is providing AI, so the models, the platform to host models and all things around, we also see the completely new area now being brought up, which is AI governance. Up to just a year or two, we were talking a lot about data governance and how this is important. But it was mostly, touched in the context of regulatory reporting and some things, where you are exposing some information which is critical, sensitive, and it's also subject to regulatory overview. Now I would say that data governance is becoming absolutely critical. It's not nice to have, it's must to have, because now you need to completely control the flow of the data which is getting to your models. If you are talking today about agentic AI, putting some autonomous units of work, you really need to be sure what will be the output. So from that perspective, that will be one area, and it's really mandatory. This is actually what we see as a vendor, global vendor, that this area, if the clients did not do it already, they are now really interested to have it as the first step of the transformation. And then finally, AI governance. The AI governance itself meaning that you have tools which will tell you at any point of time, nice dashboard, which models are running in your environment, what applications are using those models, who did what with those models, and that you can set up also the different set of policies which will also provide a compliance to a regulatory like the EU AI Act is.
Yeah, it's coming up in
So
2
yeah,
years.
these two, and I would say that the era of end-to-end governance is coming, and technology is being quite efficient to help market.
And it's also a hidden cost. I mean, we have conducted a study that says that just keeping the lights on when it comes to a single AI model at a bank, it's the cost of around $500,000 a year just to keep the infrastructure, testing, model fine-tuning, etc. We are slowly running out of time, but I'll nick some minutes. Don't worry. Robert, you have that's going to be a question to Maytal actually, referring to what Robert said before. You said that you need to walk the talk first. You have to yourself use AI as a company to be in order to as a provider be able to offer AI to other companies. And that's my question around the human factor in it. Naturally, there's a lot of, let's say, risk of, hey, AI is going to take my job, especially if I'm a developer. And then you come out stage and say, we are now 50% more efficient with AI and compared to without AI. So me being a developer, I can potentially, be scared about it. How do you manage that? How do you take care about the human part of it? How do you upskill employees? How do you organize teams to pursue the AI innovation? And that's a question to Robert and then Maytal, maybe, yeah. Maytal?
Yeah, I will start. So I will give you, I will tell a story. Many years ago, like 8 years ago, I used to work with the bank, the Israeli bank, Leumi, and I was in charge for all the digital channels. I was the CDO of the bank. And we implemented, we were the first bank that implemented a digital check, and then you were able to use the app. We had a very, very innovative app. And you were able to take a photo of the check and just deposit it. And people were struggling with it, and the most struggle was internally with the bankers. And it was one day that a client goes into a branch and asks the banker in front of him, what should I do with it? Like, I want to deposit my check. Why should I need to use my app? And she said, leave it aside, I will do it for you. And the story goes exactly what you said, that she was afraid that we will take her job. Eventually, we didn't, okay?
Did you not?
No.
Okay.
No, she's still in the bank, I'm not. But the issue is this is innovation, okay? And I think that it's a very delicate issue. We need to understand that there are people around us, and it deals with culture eventually. But I think that we need to be smart and educate people about what does it mean to use these tools. Like I see a lot of companies, and I work with a lot of companies that say, okay, we are going to be AI-driven company. What does it mean? So they are doing workshops, and everyone, by the way, doing workshops now, like tons of service providers. And then they come to me and say, okay, we did a workshop on Perplexity. How does it help us? We have only Copilot, by the way. So I think that it requires education, it requires reskilling, and again, eventually we are all going to be disappeared, yeah? The robots will take us. We can
I hope
see
so.
the Terminator, I don't know.
could use some time off work. Robert, how do you speak to hundreds of developers that you have, explaining them what's going to happen to them?
I think they're happy, to be honest. We don't see humans anywhere near not being useful anymore. And this is my personal touch as well. Whatever AI will do, it will maybe enhance our business, enhance our daily operations, remove a bit of the boring stuff, and it will, I think, increase the productivity. So digital factories of AIs, you will still need a human in the loop to make sure that there is common sense above it, because every software, is it a computer model, AI model, sometimes has a bug or sometimes goes the wrong way. So in our view, we see it as a hybrid thing, right? And there is a lot of efficiency we can get by using it. And yes, it does sound scary a bit, but we believe that we are all in and we should try. This whole panel is 30 minutes of 5 people talking, right? If it was 5 agents talking to each other, it would be 30 milliseconds, as an example, right? And this part is, to some extent, if you have 2 boring activities to be done by 2 people in Backbase, and they need to send emails to each other, right, or talk to each other, it takes some time. They will get the job done, but maybe they can do something more efficient, and this interaction will be done by 2 agents in 10 seconds, then it's better.
I see Andrew is already making a lot of steps around that. One last question, and that's going to be to Novica. What's your prediction? Because you are the IBM guy. You have the Watsons of the world and the budgets and whatnot, and no one was ever hiring for buying you. Yeah, we all know that. That's the future outlook question right now. We are now all on Gen AI. Agentic AI is slowly disrupting, and that's going to be actual disruption that we're going to hopefully enjoy. What's your take on the next big thing when it comes to next big use case? Like in let's say 5 years' time, what's AI going to do?
Well, yeah, I think we are living in a very dynamic time, so probably it's not so easy to make such kind of predictions, so I wouldn't
That's not an easy
go
question.
so long. Yeah, absolutely, but first of all, the future is extremely exciting. I think it's a privilege for all of us to live in this time, because this is one of the moments, which is not happening often, and it has the potential to change many things around us, so I think, first of all, it's a tremendous thing. Instead of doing some long-term predictions, I would maybe say what I see as a shorter-term bet, or what we are looking at in the coming months, or a year and a half, something like that. And definitely, I would emphasize agentic AI. So I think we have started with assistants, and this is most commonly initial use case that was deployed across the industry. And now we are moving basically from asking bot to provide some information to ask that bot to do something for us autonomously. I believe, my personal belief is that it will start quickly and at the beginning, or let's say ahead of us, because it will be directly linked to the next level of automation that we can provide for different industries. And it will be directly linked to huge gain and huge value that we will be able to unlock. It will come to the same question that we already addressed, how to be successful by providing, the tangible outcome. And yeah, I believe that many things will become much smarter behind the scenes. So agentic AI,
Thank you.
definitely.
Thank you. So wrapping things up, look at the bottom line and enjoy the ride, I guess, when it comes to AI. And I guess next time we'll see each other next year here, we're going to be in a whole different place. That's how dynamic it is. Yeah. See you. Sorry
Thank you
for
so much.
nicking 6 minutes and 19 seconds.
That's all right. You'll have to tell Rick about it. If you could stay on stage for the